you're working hard, but you feel stuck, it's probably not your effort. It's probably where you're putting your effort that counts the most. Time is the most important thing we have. It's finite. Can't make more of it. But we tend to think that we should be trading our time for this paper currency that government prints whenever they want and can devalue. So the money that you earn today is going to be worth less in the future. So basically the time that you're putting in right now is going to be worth less in the future. So I remember when I first started working, I made $7.25 an hour working at Raising Cane's, doing the drive-through, what's kicking, what's some chicken. And I did that for a while, to where I remember I would drive home from school. I would be thinking in terms of, like, gas-wise, I would be thinking in terms of how much time I was spending on it. So I'd make $7.25. Just for me driving home, I'd be spending 30 minutes of my time at work on gas, which was crazy to me. I remember I was working one shift, and it was a 4-hour shift right after class. So from 5 to 9, I made $7.25 times 4, around 28 bucks, and then tax on top. So maybe I made $20. And then the fact that I had to eat dinner too, so I ate at the restaurant. I paid $7 for that. I made $13 in 4 hours of work. And then I remember to get home, I had to go to the gas station right next door. I put $2 in the tank, which gas was like $4 a tank at the time. So I had half a tank of gas I put in just so I could get home. And I remember doing that every day because I couldn't even afford to put a tank of gas in my car. And I was spending 4 hours after work or after school to do it. And it was crazy. That's when I realized whatever game we're playing is rigged, because the fact that I'm working this hard for this little money and I can't even put a tank of gas in my car was crazy. So ever since then, I've been on this path of trying to level up. And there's going to be some areas that we need to invest in order to increase our income and ultimately get towards freedom. Now, it's not going to be an overnight thing by any means. You can't just go from making $7.25 an hour to all of a sudden making $1 billion a year. It probably is possible. I'm not going to say anything's impossible, because you can do really anything that you put your mind to, but it's going to be hard. You need to upskill yourself first. So hopefully y'all can see this, but right here on the bottom, I have a couple buckets. Now, number one is going to be learning. I had to learn about money, how it worked. I didn't understand it. I thought it just was, printed out of thin air because my parents bought stuff when I was a little kid, and then come to realize they worked really hard. They traded their time for it, and I started to value it more. So I had to learn about money. I read Think and Grow Rich by Robert Kiyosaki, Napoleon Hill. Then I read Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki, and that got my mind spinning on this money. And then I was like, okay, how do I make more of this so that I can buy assets? And then I started investing in sales skills and realized that sales as a job, you make more money than even doctors and lawyers, and it's scalable. You don't have to go to school for 10 years to do it. So I started going down that path, and I would learn about that. I'd read books. I've read probably thousands of books over my time on this planet. And especially in the last couple of years, I've read a ton about business and a ton about sales, and constantly investing my time there. The next for me is going to be mentors. I have one mentor currently that I'm trying to develop, but that's going to be the next one for me, is getting mentors that have done what I'm trying to do. And then trial and error. So trying different things and learning what works and what doesn't. So the vending business, that was just me. I read one single book, and then I put action in, and I learned it on the fly. And that taught me taught me a lot about myself and what I'm capable of. And I know that y'all are capable of the same thing. If I could do it, y'all can do it. You just got to put yourself out there, fail, and keep going. Now, the next thing is going to be earning. So job, and then freelance work, and then business. So job, that's going to be the one that you might want to invest in by reading books, depending on what you do. Maybe you're a coder, maybe you're a lawyer. Always want to be upskilling that, because that's going to get you more return on your time. When you start to earn more, you can start investing in areas that will amplify that even more. So maybe you get into a business, and a business at the end of the day is going to be where you pay people to trade their time for money. So instead of being the employee, you become the employer. You take the revenue that you generate and give a cut to pay your payroll. And so you're paying for other people to do the work for you while you collect most of the profits, and you start investing in other areas. Business owners are super, super important. I know there's a lot of hate towards them because they just take advantage of people, but trust me, there's so much risk involved in it that a lot of these employees, if they were to do it themselves, they need the security of the business. And depending on your personality, I highly recommend getting into a business. I think everybody can do it. I just think you have to be willing to take risk and you have to be willing to fail and get rejected constantly. It's not gonna be easy by any means, but I do recommend that. If you're not up for that and you don't want to have to manage other people, don't start a business. Go into freelance work. Go work for yourself. Be self-employed. If you're a really good salesperson, maybe you can become a sales consultant and then you just work with businesses. That's gonna be more freelance and you can potentially earn more money for your time. But again, you're still gonna be trading your time for money. The only one of these three right here that's actually gonna be where your time is dealing for your money is business. And from the next page, so you're gonna be investing. So learning, invest so that you can earn more. When you earn more, then you can build assets, a brand, and systems. Really hope y'all can see this. So assets, real estate, stocks, bonds, pretty much anything that earns you some sort of return on your money. You don't have to necessarily, maybe a business could be considered this too. I would say those are more for earning. Assets are going to be more accrues without your time at all. So you're trading money for money. And then brand, that's going to be something that for anything that you do is going to be valuable. I think nowadays personal brand is so important for everything. That's why I started this YouTube channel. And I think everybody should start one because there's just so much. I think with all the AI stuff, I think it's going to be hard to discern what's real and what's not. And so I think having a brand where people can like and trust you is super important if you want to get into really any field that you want to do, honestly. If you're a known person in that field, you're always going to have opportunities. So say you're a programmer, if you're on LinkedIn and you're posting consistently, showing your knowledge, teaching others, you have a community around you, businesses are always going to want to have somebody like you on their team. So no matter what you do, I think having some sort of personal brand is valuable. And next is going to be systems. So that's just how the business operates, standard operating procedures, or systems of how you do certain things. That's going to ultimately be repeatable processes that you do that you can sell to others. That's really what I've been focused on. This visual is what I try to focus on when I'm thinking of where to invest my time next. Obviously, the highest leverage is going to be here in the building stage. It does take time to get there. If you're like me, I started with learning and then I started earning. Once I started earning, I take that money, invest into assets. And it just keeps going. You keep going through all of them. I still spend a lot of time reading. I still spend a lot of time trying and failing. And then I still spend a lot of time at my job currently. And even if I'm not working a job, I'm going to be at a business trying to earn more and then ultimately build. So that's just what I wanted to show y'all real quick as a visual wise. But for me, I know I get, pretty burnt out, especially at my job because I don't have any time and it's super, super hard to get more time. You can be as disciplined as possible and it still feels like you don't have much time. Now, I'm not gonna lie to y'all, I still waste time and I shouldn't. I think we all do in some regards. Sometimes I scroll on my phone too much. Maybe I'll watch TV when I shouldn't. But it's hard to be 100% perfect in that kind of stuff. I wish I could say I was, but so I wake up 3:45, do my Miracle Morning Routine, which is a book by, I think it's Howard Elrod or something like that. But highly recommend reading that. I do all that in the mornings so that I have a clear focus in my day. Work all day, work 9 hours in my sales job, get off, eat dinner, record a video or do something with laundromats, and then I wind down, read, go to sleep by 8, and I do it the same day. The same thing the next day. Miracle Morning, gym, work, blah, 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 blah. And it starts to burn you out a little bit. So I deal with this a lot where I'll be on this grind for a minute. And eventually I get tired because it just feels like I'm not building towards anything. It feels like I'm not building any wealth. It feels like I look at my bank account and it's the same as it was before and I don't know what's going on. Maybe it's how I'm managing my money, maybe it's just I'm not building towards ownership like I should be. So that's hard work only. If you do that for 30 years, I can't imagine doing that for 30 years. I don't know how people do that for 30 years. It just feels like you're on a freaking hamster wheel. And that's why they call it the rat race. So hard work and ownership. The key is ownership. So learning, investing, buying assets equals freedom. And it repeats. You go back, you learn, you invest, you buy assets, freedom. And that's why hard work isn't enough. And it's why people stay broke. They don't think about these different buckets. They invest all of their time into this one bucket. Okay, let me earn more. Let me spend more time in my job. Then I'll create wealth. Maybe. But if you're if all you're doing is spending your time there, you're not building any sort of assets. You're not building any sort of brain, not building any systems. You're not learning anything. You're just stuck in this one bucket. And okay, this bucket's half full, great. But what about the rest of your time? What are you doing with that? It's going to get filled somewhere. Maybe it's going to be distractions over here, or TV, drinking. You know what I mean? There's where you spend your time tells me everything I need to know about you. Yeah. I mean, the problem isn't laziness, it's misalignment. I really should add these other buckets on here because that's where most people invest their time, is going to be distractions and partying and drinking. So just recognize that you're investing your time somewhere. It's filling up some bucket. Would you rather invest that time in learning, earning, building, or distractions? It's up to you. So if you're serious about building freedom, not just working hard, please subscribe to my channel. I'm going to be posting more content, trying to get better at posting this content. So please leave your feedback down below. I'm trying to get better in any way I can. Yeah, leave a comment down below. What bucket are you ignoring right now? And I'll see you on the next video. See ya.